On to one Imsx2go. Now, you'll have to correct me. For all this while I've known you, I've been calling you Richard. And just recently, I've noticed people calling you John. So, if I've been calling you incorrectly, be calling you Richard all this time, I apologise. Should I be calling you John or Richard? Because I don't want to get it wrong. I would much rather prefer to be calling you the right name. But for now, I'll call you Richard because that's what I've always called you. So, would you ever like to meet the man himself, Chuck Norris? I think there was a question in one of the early videos I did about Chuck Norris. The thing is about Chuck Norris, he's sort of got this. It's like a cult following. It's ironic, isn't it? It's an ironic cult following about Chuck Norris. It's the Walker Texas Ranger, isn't it? The archetypal from the old Wheel of Destiny. The denim outfit he wears with his highly cut, sort of closely cut beard and stuff like that doesn't really go with the rough, tough, arse-kicking sort of image, does it? It's slightly strange. He doesn't quite get it right. I think that's where the cult following comes from. He's quite an odd dude. Like I said, I've tried to watch some of his films in the past, and it was Delta Force 2. It didn't sit well with me. There's one point he's sitting in a restaurant and he deals this really vicious arse kicking, and afterwards it's sort of done with sort of a smile on his face, and I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. He's probably a really nice bloke, but his films just I struggle. I struggle with them. So I would like to meet him, yeah. Obviously, yeah. Like I said, he's probably a really nice bloke. Would you tell him about or show him your Wheel of Chuck? Yeah, totally. I reckon he'd probably take it as a compliment. I wouldn't explain to him that it's meant to be ironic. I think he's probably even aware. I mean, there are jokes, aren't there, about Chuck Norris? There are jokes. My favourite one is that. I'm guessing there's websites. I've never actually seen them, but my favourite Chuck Norris joke is the Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups or doesn't do press-ups. He pushes the world down. I love that one. So he's got to be aware of this image that he has. So yeah, I'll definitely show it to him. Then I'll run away fast. Your favourite anime? Favourite anime? Oh, I've got loads. The one I've watched most recently was Bleach, and I know Bleach gets stick, but I did enjoy it. I like the characters. I mean, it had some really excellent characters in it. My two favourite characters were Ikaku, or Madarame Ikaku, and Kenpachi. Just he's just insane. I like the idea that he doesn't tell anyone that he can use Bankai, just because he doesn't want to become a captain. So he holds it back, and he doesn't want the responsibility of being a captain because it means he won't be able to fight. He won't be able to fight in the way that sort of non-captains do, if that makes sense. Sorry, top up. But I do tend to gravitate towards the more old school animes, like I think I've mentioned earlier, Fist of the North Star, Hokuto Shinken, or no Ken, sorry. I always say Shinken. Shinken is the martial art, isn't it? Hokuto no Ken. Saint Seiya. I've got what have I got upstairs? I've got loads, but sorry, I'm just my memory's just the names have disappeared. But like I said, I do tend to gravitate towards the more old school ones. That's probably because, like I said, I think they're probably sort of more my generation. I like their sort of rough around the edges, not quite so slick presentation, and the Fist of the North Star, the weird scaling thing that didn't make sense when I was a kid, but makes all total sense now. I'd probably say Fist of the North Star, even though I can remember buying an anime called Venus Wars. I've never seen since. Never seen it anywhere since. And I bought it in VHS, and the tape was knackered even when I bought it, so I had to take it back, and I bought Fist of the North Star to replace it, and it was shocking because it was fucking violent. And I don't know if I was old enough even to have it. I'm not sure I was even 18, because it's got to be an 18, isn't it? But now it makes sense. I don't think the actual I don't think the actual series was as violent as the film. I seem to remember the film being really bloody, but the series not. But there's another one I've only ever seen an English dub version of on UK television. I'm not sure they ever completed the story. 3 times 3 Eyes. That was another really violent one, but I enjoyed that as well. I think I've got it on tape upstairs, VHS. But I enjoyed that. But can anyone tell me if 3 times 3 Eyes was ever completed? And Cyber City Oedo 808. I enjoyed that as well, because I can remember them playing those on I think it was like BBC Two, sort of years ago, quite late at night, and I had to record them to watch them because they were so late. But Cyber City Oedo 808 was really good. And Ghost in the Shell, I've got. To be honest, there's probably there are lots I'd like to get. There's some I want to get at the moment that's just been released. It's Tower of Druaga, which I think it's based. I think there's a NES game, Tower of Druaga, isn't there? But I did watch a few episodes of that online years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry, no, they're escaping me, but there's plenty. It's not much of an answer, but I can literally say everything really. I don't watch as many as I'd like, because my attention span is pretty limited, and so I'll watch a few episodes of one, and then my attention will get diverted to something else. So question 4 from one Imsx2go: a console you've always wanted to have in your collection. That would have to be a Neo Geo, just because of what it meant as a kid, because of how ridiculous it was. It wasn't even a realistic option as a kid because of just the cost. And but now obviously it's within like a realistic. It's within. Sorry, pardon me. It's it's a realistic cost, isn't it? I realistically can own one. It's almost like the sort of culmination of a childhood ambition to have one. I think that's probably similar for many people because of how ridiculous it was. It didn't make sense. I can remember having my Mega Drive, and the Mega Drive was expensive as it is, and I could only ever own the odd game here or there, and I had sort of a quite small selection of games, and I'd have to maybe trade one or something. But I'd only ever have like maybe sort of 10 or so games. But all those 10 or so games would be maybe 2 Neo Geo games worth, and the cost just didn't make sense to me as a kid. So I'd have to say Neo Geo AES for that. 80s cartoons, He-Man or She-Ra. It's got to be He-Man, isn't it? Because I had the He-Man Battle Cat pack. I got the Battle Cat with He-Man on it. I can't remember. I think it was for Christmas, and I loved it. I never had too many He-Man toys. I had that and maybe a few others. I think I had Stratos. Was it Stratos? He was the guy with the wings. But I'd never watched She-Ra. I don't think I did. Just it's got to be He-Man. I can't really say. I can't really say too much about She-Ra because, to be honest, I don't think I ever watched it. Now, question 6. This is another one that's been going over and over in my head. This one's a good one. Got a little set of notes for this one. Get rid of those. This is another one I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This one's been going round and round in my head, but this one actually existed, whereas that one didn't. Question 6 from Richard. One Imsx2go. The most embarrassing thing you've ever done in public? Well, there are plenty actually. There are some I've forgotten, some I thought of for this purpose, some I've forgotten. And actually, if I'm honest, I'm gonna better have to check. Oh shit! Hour and 12. Hour and 12. I'm still going though. Hour and 12. Right. Most embarrassing moments. Yeah, there's some I've forgotten because I've tried to think back and remembered some and I've forgotten them. But I've managed to note down 5 in particular, and they've all got their own stories. The earliest one, when I was a little kid and up into secondary school, I used to run 100 metres for my school because I was quite nippy. And the first ever inter-schools event I did, we used to do this thing called the district sports. And the first ever thing I did, it was the 80 metres actually, and it was the heat. I don't think there was a final. I don't think it was the final, but it was the heat, and I'm not sure I was winning. I might have been winning, but in front of all these other kids from all these schools across the borough, I fell flat on my face. I can remember this audible ooh as I did during the race. And then I did get up and finish though, so I think I got a bit of a clap. But that was embarrassing. There's another one. This is quite a good one. I went into the Levi's shop on Regent Street, and back then, it's changed now. Back then, the changing cubicles were like a shower cubicle, and it had this sort of metal loop at the top, and it had like a shower curtain that would come round like that, and you had to clip it with these big chunky clips. I went in there to try a pair of jeans on, and I had my trousers around my ankles when the shop assistant came along, went doosh, opened it up, and I'm standing there with my trousers around my ankles. I had my pants on. I didn't, I wasn't going commando or anything. But I was sort of standing there, right, and she went, "Oh no!" And then sort of a close. I was quite cool about it. This was a strange thing. I was quite relaxed. And I went, "Let's go. I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it." Because she tried to close it up again, and I closed it up, and it closed it up, and and sort of that was it. But I wasn't that embarrassed, but it was only afterwards when I was out the shop and I was walking down the road, maybe 5 minutes later, then I got really embarrassed. It sort of hit me. I think maybe the adrenaline pushed aside the embarrassment. The adrenaline of this girl sort of busting in on me while I was had my trousers around my ankles. or maybe she just went in to look at the goods. Probably not. No, I'm not saying probably not. Of course not. But maybe it's one of those. Maybe it's one of those sort of mythical urban myths you hear about shop assistants, where they shop assistants. You hear the stories about waiting staff pissing in people's soup and stuff, like spitting in people's soup and doing things to people they don't like. And maybe that was just like a bet amongst their mates that she would sort of bust in on someone just randomly to get a look at the goods. But what am I talking about? Of course not. What else? That's 2, isn't it? Number 3. I went out for my mate's stag do. We went go-karting, and I was really shit at go-karting. And I think it was the last. I think we did 3 lots of 20 minutes. I think it was, and every whenever they indicated that you're all to come in, you'd have to do 1 lap without any overtaking, and then sort of come in and pull up. But for some reason I got really frustrated with being shit, so I think they waved the checkered flag, so we all sort of filed in, and I can remember coming up behind my mate just as on this last lap, and I recognised it was my mate because of his shoes, and for some reason I thought, oh, I'm going to take him on the hairpin, and I tried to sort of cut in round the hairpin for some weird reason. I don't know why. It just sort of I had a bit of a rush of blood, and we were also going a little bit too fast, and I must have sideswiped him, and we both went off through like this sort of gravel trap, and there was like gravel. We went doosh like that, and there was gravel and water. It just went up in the air, and he missed. My mate missed a tree by like inches or less than an inch, but it was totally and utterly my fault, and that was pretty embarrassing. And the guy came over to us and he was like talking about his insurance. You know, you could cost me my insurance, because I was probably like, if my mate hit the tree head on, he probably would have died. Just because I had a rush of blood. Right. What else we got? Yeah, sorry. There's another one. I was at university. One night there was a fight outside our union, and I, being a little bit pissed up, I stepped in and broke it up, and it was quite a major fight, and there was sort of blood and stuff, and people being knocked out. So, but I stepped in and tried to break it up. I sort of jumped in. I think I ended up getting punched the odd couple of times myself, but I broke it up, and it all sort of petered out afterwards. But because I'd sort of jumped into the middle of it, I had to go and give evidence, because it was that serious. It went to court. It went to the magistrate's court, and I was called to give evidence. And I can remember shitting my pants actually when I went to give evidence. But afterwards, I was so relieved when it done. And the thing is, I went into this magistrate's court. It was proper, magistrates lined up and being cross-examination and stuff. And it was wood panel all the way around the walls, and so you couldn't really see where the doors were and stuff. I can remember when they told me that I'd finished my bit and I could go. I stepped down, and I didn't know where I'd come in. I got lost. I couldn't find my way out. It was really embarrassing. I was sort of like, oh no, I can't find my way out. And it just, the sort of seriousness of the situation made it even more embarrassing, because this was a magistrate's court and I couldn't find my way out of the room. Although, to be honest, if they did sort of almost, I reckon they probably felt sorry for me. They saw this imbecile who couldn't get out, and I think they just sort of placated me. But you know, eventually I did get out, but it stayed with me ever since that I couldn't get out of this magistrate's court. It was really embarrassing. And finally, I think that's 4, isn't it? Finally, probably the best one. Again, another university story. At the end of the night, we'd all been out, and we were all filing back to our university buildings, and it was up a hill, and then there was like, you got to like the area, and then there was a gate, and there was this crescent of buildings like this, all like looking out over to this road, and over the other side of this road, the main road, there was a Juicens, you know, like builders merchants, Juicens, and they had a gate. And my mate Sam, who's a bit of a wind-up merchant, goes, "Oh, let's go and steal some cones." And me being an idiot, I'm like, "Yeah, let's go and steal cones." So I vaulted over the gate, and literally just as a police car pulled up, and I was the other side of the gate holding these 2 cones. Actually, no, I jumped back over. And I was holding these 2 cones, and the police car pulls up, and he gets out, and he goes, "Put them back," and I had to turn around and put them back, and I got nicked. I got caught stealing cones. Yeah, that was embarrassing. And then my mate Sam, who'd actually he'd got his cone, he'd got a cone, and he stood. I was being questioned by a policeman, and he stood behind me. I could see him in my eye line behind the policeman's back, and he was holding his cone up, going, "Woohoo!" Bastard. And then the thing is, where we were standing, there was this big crescent of apartment blocks from my university. And there's all these people watching, because it was the end of the night, and all these people filed back from the pubs. And there's all these people watching, and there was my other mate, Dan. He goes, "Don't tell him your name, Owen McCarthy." Bastard. Proper wind-up. I think in my head, I remember thinking, I'm being really cocky, I'm being really rebellious. I'm a proper rebel. I'm sort of back chatting the fuzz. But afterwards, everybody told me that I look like a sheepish schoolboy. That's not how it happened in my head, but that's probably more accurate. But no, embarrassing, very embarrassing. But funny. It was funny actually. It's not so bad because it was funny. And finally, the strangest, weirdest game you've ever bought in you have in your collection. I don't know. That's a tough one because I don't tend to buy games on a whim. I suppose the strangest game was We Love Katamari, because it's just bonkers, isn't it? Pardon me. In my collection, I couldn't say actually, if I'm honest. Strangest, weirdest game ever bought or ever have in your collection. That's a tough one. I'd have to probably bottle it and say We Love Katamari because of just how bonkers it is. I'm trying to think of games that just make no sense, but then. Oh, sorry, that's a really shit answer. I'm going to have to say We Love Katamari. Because it is weird, isn't it? Undeniably weird. But weird in a good way. So, I'll think again about that and get back to you. There's a couple of questions I'm going to have to return to in later videos.